Good morning. All this week we are reading through the same story. It's a story about Jesus who's in Galilee. He's in the northern part of Israel. He's likely surrounded by these Jewish crowds of people. Yet in the midst of that, there's one Roman officer who comes to Jesus and he's petitioning on behalf of his son, who we're told is like close to death. So just put yourself in that kind of scene. I've read this story a few times this week, and already it feels like when I first read it, that Jesus' response to this father is cold. It just doesn't feel like the Jesus I knew. And then I saw the story in a different light. I remember that Jesus is surrounded by a crowd of Jewish people in the northern regions of Israel. So when you look at verse 48, this father has approached Jesus. He's a Gentile, and this is what Jesus says. Unless you people is plural. Unless you people see signs and wonders, Jesus told him, you will never believe. So I don't think Jesus is actually speaking to this one father. I think he's being approached by this Roman centurion, but he's still surrounded by this crowd of his peers, of his Jewish brothers and sisters. And he's saying, you don't believe unless you see signs and wonders. But look what happens next. The royal official just kind of brings Jesus back to him. He's like, hey, I need you. My son is dying. You can help him. And this is what Jesus says. He just says, go, and your son's going to live. And here's the key. The man took Jesus at his word and departed. This idea of taking Jesus at his word is the same idea we've been studying really throughout John's gospel. It's the pisteuo, the trust, and the belief. This man takes Jesus at his word. He trusts that what Jesus says is going to happen. So much so that he immediately leaves to go home and see his son. Now, I think that Jesus, and really John, through Jesus, is making a comparison between the Jewish crowd of people who are looking for signs. They're looking for Jesus to prove himself before they'll believe. And yet here's this Gentile Roman official who immediately takes Jesus at his word. He doesn't need to see. He hasn't seen that anything's happened. He just believes. He has hope that what Jesus is saying is going to happen, that his son will live, is actually going to happen. So I think First John is setting up a little dichotomy here between the Jews and the Gentiles. That's pretty interesting. But here's what I love. So the man believes before he's ever even seen anything. He believes with a level of hope and expectation before anything physical has happened. And then he's met on the road. He gets the news that his son is better, that his son is going to live. And he goes home and he sees it. He sees it for himself. And when he sees it for himself, his whole household believes. And he along with them. But he already believed. Okay, well, I think there's actually two different kinds of belief here. And I think we can relate to this if you look back on your life. There's a level of belief that happens first that's just stepping out on a ledge, and it doesn't feel like there's any ground beneath us, right? When are the times that you've trusted Jesus that you're just saying, you know what, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I believe that you are good. I believe your promises. I believe that you are who you say you are. Even if I haven't seen the signs yet, I still believe. For me, this was accepting this job here at HBMC. There was a season where I was in the interview process and I was living in Kentucky, and it was really difficult to interview for a job here in Texas being that far away. But I just felt like God was saying, I've got you. This is it. This is going to be your job. Don't worry about it. You know, I had to quit my old job before I'd gotten the offer for this job. And it was just me stepping out on a ledge and saying, okay, God, Jesus, I trust you. I believe, even though I haven't seen, even though it's not been confirmed. And then later, when it all worked out and I actually did get the job, there was this confirmation belief, this, wow, only God could have done this. You were at work the whole time, and it was like a settled belief, like it's just confirmed in you how good God is, that he does keep his promises. You see the difference? There's a level of belief that requires us to step out into unknown territory without having the proof behind us. And then there's a level of belief that when God shows up in our life and it's undeniable and we can't credit it with anything else, that's a different kind of belief. So where are you at? Where are you right now? Do you feel like you're out kind of on the ledge where you're having to just trust God or trust Jesus, trust in those promises, and there's nothing under you to catch you? Or are you at a point in your life where you just know? You just know, like, that belief has been confirmed in you. I don't know what that looks like for you. I just know that this has really spoken to me this week and reminded me that even in the seasons where we feel like we're out on a ledge, that just like this Father, God's got us in his hands. And there's going to be a day when we're able to look back and go, wow, only God was able to do that in our lives. I hope you're enjoying this reading plan. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.